Very good afternoon, very good evening. We are going to run through our weekly watch list video for the week commencing the 9th of the 12th, 2024. Same as always, we've got the same watch pair list. We've got the dollar index, US 30, US 100. We've got things like gold, so we're trading commodities. We've got FX pairs like GU, EU, AU, and also GBP, Japanese yen, Euro yen, USD yen. And a couple of cryptos as well, like Bitcoin and Ethereum USD. So we'll run through these. We'll kind of do a bit of a recap on last week, what went well, what went wrong, and let's see what we can do, where we're trading from, certain zones we're trading from this week. So seeing what the what the process is going forward, what we can look to optimize. We took 9,000 US dollars last month or last week. Last month, in fact, we took 20,000 USD with a nice bit of profit. We started withdrawing that profit. If you guys remember, we said we had a few payouts lined up. So we've taken $9,000 of that now. We're looking really, really strong as well for this week coming, in positions for more payouts. And we're obviously going to try and grow these accounts as well. So looking really good, really, really promising. A strong month to end the year. And we're going to start off now with the dollar index. So we were saying, look, we are still trading south of this 106,300 price. And this is the kind of area of resistance, and if you remember, our stops were covering those wicks to the left. We saw the sell-off pull back, and now hopefully what we can look or expect to see is a new fresh low. So a new fresh low, a retest of that previous support where we're literally holding at the moment. If you drag this across, you'll be able to see exactly what I'm referring to. And quite simply a break of this and then a retest of that zone. So again, it's a simple support turn to resistance, but when we see this move, we start to then see selling control, selling power, and sellers are then outweighing the buyers, effectively pulling the markets down, and then pulling back. If we pull back, as everything, what falls down must come back up, and what goes up must come back down. So we always want to see these breaks and wait for the markets to correct somewhat, whether that's profit taking, whether that's different orders coming in to rebalance markets. We're waiting for a bit of a pullback, and this is what we're seeing here, and that's what's going to allow us to kind of get the best entry price possible. So if we were looking to kind of optimize another entry, what would we do? We'd probably look to cover these wicks and the previous lower high. So again, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. We'd probably look to try and get an entry where we can place our stops to cover that previous lower high, so that we can effectively say, look, if we do hit our stop loss, that means the trend is probably going to break, so maybe a fake out or something of the sort, and let's get out of this position and not kind of risk any more than we need to. Let's sit on the sidelines, observe until we see what we need to see. US 30 was great. We said last week this 45k is a very, very significant price, and with US stock indices like US 30, like Dow Jones, Nasdaq and bits and pieces, when you see whole numbers and psychological numbers, they have so much significance. And you can see here, we're kind of hovering around that 45k price, and then we come in, then we see some great selling pressure, and now we're starting to trend somewhat. What do we notice? Where we are at current prices, arguably a bit of support, so we want to see this break. I would love to see 45k again. Whether we see that, not entirely sure, but certainly 45k would be a great opportunity to sell again, given the fact that we have already seen, best part of 400, 500 points to the downside from that zone. So let's take this hourly here. We got a solid 430, 420 points there. So, really significant, really one directional here. We had best part of 300 points without any signs of correction. Again, on the hourly time frame, which is great. US 100 a bit different. So this is something that's quite interesting. We had a 176R trade earlier on in the week, which we were playing from this previous supply. So 4 hour, I think, was the time frame we were looking at. 4 hour here, we saw, we had an opportunities for play. This zone absolutely obliterated. So huge supply zone, and we kind of obliterated that and then traded us, slight bit higher. Around 21,150. So again, this 21,150 to 21,200 is kind of the region we're looking to were looking to obviously short. That then obliterated. We've traded further upside, and we're setting all-time highs, fresh all-time highs, and that's not really something we want to be seeing, because our whole strategy is trading between the zones. And if we're creating new highs, we're kind of effectively leaving our old zones behind, right? So as we've got here on US 30, we've still got zones, we've still got these red boxes, which don't look like a lot at the moment, but as we dig into the lower time frames, these will certainly start to make more sense. So for the moment, I'd probably say US 100, so Nasdaq isn't really in our crosshairs as such until maybe we see a bit of a correction. Let's say price trades down to around, let's say 21,400, maybe even lower, 21,200, and we can start using these previous areas of demand, support, resistance, supply, whole numbers, and all that kind of stuff to our favor, to our kind of favor. So We have gold. Gold has been really good to us recently. Really good to us. We obviously share gold a lot, and it's something that we obviously want to be buying from these ranges. So we've got $2,600 an ounce here, and we have $2,665 an ounce. So supply, resistance, whole numbers, great stuff. We've got these interim zones just in here around 2650. 2650 was the entry we were looking for, but you know, seeing how prices responded recently, we could probably go 2652, 53-ish, and tightening those stops at around 45, 55 points, something of the sort. Again, covering all this stuff. This would obviously require us to look at a lower time frame, so maybe the hourly would be a bit more appropriate. And again, here you can see the tops now, and you can see that if we were to place our stop where we've indicated here at 58, we'd cover everything to the left. So we'd have to obviously wait for that, and that would maybe be something as an interim sell. Don't get me wrong, again, I'm saying certainly up towards this top end would be preferred, but we're going to see opportunity, no doubt, from this interim zone, you know, in due course. So let's see how that unfolds, and again, we'd simply look to buy from this support zone as well. So whilst we've got shorts, we've also got longs, but again, we need to be patient with that. 23 arguably, maybe 25. You can see the kind of demand here. We can see demand here, this wick region. I'd arguably say 25, 26, 25 is an interim zone that we could possibly look to trade from. And if you just see now, you can see that zone that looks something like this. But again, ultimately, you know, we'd like to probably buy from as close to $2,600 an ounce as possible. But again, you know, we have to kind of wait and see what happens. We're going to get lots of interim zones if we ultimately wait for these top end zones at the moment. This resistance at 2665 and 2600, 2605. You can see for a long time we haven't actually had that. So November last week, we would not have had a single opportunity. So you could effectively say we're trading a range within a range. So this range now is 26.25, and then we have resistance price of 26.55. So still a 300-point range, which is basically more than enough to trade between. It's just 200 points shorter of the bigger range from major resistance, let's say, to major support. AUD USD, so again, this is quite interesting. What do we have? We had a bit of a bounce, and again, this is quite concerning because as we are still rejecting the dollar somewhat, and we look like we want to be breaking south side, we haven't really seen that unfold with these pairs yet. GU and EU has. AU, I think we were looking at UCAD and some other ones as well, haven't really kind of displayed what we'd expect. So really kind of sitting on the sidelines with those, focusing on gold. I think GU could obviously take off from current price. That would look something very similar to this. You can generally see we're uptrending. So if you were to, you know, maybe place stops around here, again, we were saying a entry around here. You can see something of the sort. Maybe we cover that low. Depending on how aggressive ultimately you want to try and cover this zone, but does that leave our stops too high? You know, we're only looking at a 2-hour trade there. Could be good, could not. You know, let's see what happens. But we're looking for something similar to this generally. A little bit choppy here sideways. You know, it's not really all that attractive. What we could certainly note is this 106 whole number price is acting as some sort of pivot point, let's say. You know, it's an area we're trying to break, you know, back beyond, but you know, we've obviously had a few attempts previously here. Supported, broke, again shy of, again shy of, and now we're effectively looking to break north of that. So again, this could be an opportunity where we wait for the confirmation to say, right, buyers are back in control. We're looking to trade now north towards 107, break of 106, and what that would look like is something very similar to this. So again, like we said before, what happens? We get the break to say bullies are in control. We get the correction, the pullback to say, right, you know, markets have relieved themselves from the previous bull run to break this type of structure. Now we're pulling back. We've got a good entry now. We've kind of reduced the size of our stop loss by waiting, and therefore increase our reward potential. So here, as compared to GU, you know, we could arguably say, look, when it comes to this, we could maybe measure a better trade with greater reward potential. GJ, again, chopping. I think we're going to start climbing higher. I don't really want to waste too much time on this. Maybe we'll share a bit more on these yen pairs throughout the week. And again, Bitcoin at 100K, Ethereum at $4,000. So again, massive make or break time. You can see Ethereum here now really on that kind of high price of $4,000 per coin. And Bitcoin again pushing that 100K. So again, really closing quite high. Massive points of pivot here. So we could see big corrections. 100K was certainly in the crosshairs for a lot of investors, and again 4K pushing these all-time highs. You know, certainly a point of interest for people to consider. You know, maybe taking a bit of their money off the table, hedging themselves somewhat, and you know, realizing some of that unrealized profit effectively. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and again, as always, check out the description below and you'll get sight of our recommendations, our free groups and all that kind of stuff. If you've got any questions, please leave a comment below, and we will see you on the next one.